Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat sa mang parte ng mundo kayo naroon. Kayo po ay nasa Iparas kay Paras. At ito po inyong lingkod Ado Paglinawan at si Secretary.
Magandang hapon, paring Ado. At magandang hapon, mga mahal natin mga kababayan na talagang dinurobo at binudol ni Marcos. Pasensyahan na lang muna tayo dahil nagkamali tayo ng pagboto at sa daming kabulastugan ni Marcos ay naghihirap po tayo ngayon. At lalo na ang ating mga mahihirap na mga kababayan. Ito po ang inyong kaibigan, Secretary Jing Paras. Dito po tayo sa programa ng Iparas kay Paras.
Secretary, tungkol dito sa mga agreement daw ng mga gentlemen, ha? At sikreto pa daw.
Nako.
Pero bulgar naman. Hindi ko maintindihan. Ano ba ang paglilinaw natin dito?
Well, unang-una, ito si Marcos kasi, kung sino-sinong pinapakinggan. Pero, una muna, ito, pakinggan muna natin ang paglinaw ni President Duterte dito.
Pinabulaanan ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang aligasyon na umano'y pumasok ito sa isang gentleman's agreement sa pagitan niya at ni Chinese President Xi Jinping ukol sa West Philippine Sea. Sa isang press conference sa Davao City kagabi, April 11, kinuwento ni Duterte ang naging usapan nila ni President Xi sa kanyang state visit sa China noong siya pa ang Pangulo. Sinabi umano ni Duterte sa Chinese President na balak ng Pilipinas na kumuha ng langis sa West Philippine Sea pero hindi pumayag si President Xi.
Mr. President, we would insist that that China Sea, or not the whole of it, but there is a part of the China Sea that belongs to the Philippines. And since I would want to get savings instead of importing it from the exporting country. Ako nang I will dig my oil there. I just want to let you know. Ito ang sagot ni Xi Jinping. I am afraid you cannot do that. Sabi ko, why, Mr. President? Dinaretso ko na siya. I will get it from that portion of the Red China Sea that belongs to the Philippines. Sabi niya, please do not do it. For the life of me. We are friends and I do not want to destroy that friendship. So, what is in your mind, Mr. President? Sabi niya, because it would be in trouble.
Ayon pa kay Duterte, kung pagpipilitan niya ay maaaring maglunsad ng gyera ang China at maaaring matunaw ang Pilipinas.
Ang pagkaintindi ko pag sabi niya, there will be trouble if we insist on our own way there, China will go to war.
Wala na umanong kasunod na meeting na nangyari pagkatapos noon. Wala rin umano siyang tinatago na anumang gentleman's agreement sa pagitan ng China at Pilipinas dahil kasama niyang pumunta noon sa China si dating National Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, National Security Advisor Eduardo Año, former Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP Chief Hermogenes Esperan Jr. at ilan pang cabinet members.
The only thing I remember was that status quo. That's the word, na walang galawan. No movement, no armed patrols there, as is where is, para walang magkagulo. I assure you that if it was a gentleman's agreement, it would always have been an agreement that would keep the peace in the South China Sea.
Samantala, hinamon din ito si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na subukang magtayo ng gusali o anumang istruktura sa West Philippine Sea.
sabi ko kay Bangkaws, stop complaining and expounding on it. Do it and repair. Yan ang sasabi ko sa kanila. I challenge them na sila man sa gobyerno ngayon, di repair nila at gumawa sila doon ng mga bahay-bahay kung saan. If they are really ready for that. Gawain na nila ngayon gusto nilang gawin. I-patrol na nila yung Philippine Navy, the gray ships, and let us see what happens. Mr. President, I am challenging you to go to Alonan with the other ships and repair it. Di subukan nila. Kami takot. Ayaw namin ng gera. Go ahead. Bring in Japan and the rest of the ASEAN countries and let us see what happens.
Yan po ang sinasabi ni Pangulong Duterte na walang secret agreement. Ha? How can it be secret when the dialogue was in the presence of cabinet secretary, and in fact,
Including Ed Anyo.
including Anyo, President Duterte mentioned even Anyo was there.
Oo.
Ha? Oh. And sinasabi niya na he wanted to inform Xi Jinping that there was a plan by the Philippine government to exploit or explore the certain parts of the economic zone, special exclusive economic zone, in order to take advantage of the glut in oil in the world, and he will be able to save money for buying oil by digging into the or exploring the certain portion. But Xi Jinping says, no, do not do that. It will be trouble. There will be trouble. Now, dito po natin makikita ang dalawang pangulo na nagmamahal sa bansa at yung isa ay nag-iinarte lamang. Dito kay Duterte, maski any ordinary citizen who will be in the shoes of Duterte will always take precautionary caution to protect the Filipino people from harm. Kaya nga, sinasabi niya, nung sinabi ni Xi Jinping, there will be trouble, he refrained from pursuing that idea.
But he took it up.
But he took it up.
He took it up.
And Duterte, being pragmatic about it, hindi po niya pinilit. Kasi alam niya, bilang Pangulo, hindi niya masasagot kung ang ating mga kababayan ay magkakamatayan dahil baka makipaggera ang China kung pinilit natin. In contrast with this bangag daw, di umano, ito, pakinggan natin si bangag, di umano.
It turns out, we don't know, it is a secret agreement. We don't know anything about it. There is no documentation, there is no record, there is no... We were not briefed when I came into office. Walang nagsabi sa amin na meron ganung usapan. So, we're trying to really, up to now, because from the former administration, iba-iba ang sagot eh. Sabi ng isang official, dating government official under the previous administration, there's no such agreement. Sabi naman ng isa, no, there is, and we should honor it. Sabi naman ng iba, maganda yan. Sabi ng iba, hindi maganda yan. Hindi pa namin alam kung ano ba talaga yung agreement na yan. But, kung ay ang sinasabi sa agreement na yan na kailangan tayong magpermiso sa ibang bansa para gumalaw sa ating sariling teritoryo, ay mahirap siguro sundan yung kanyang klaseng agreement. I am horrified by the idea that we have compromised through a secret agreement the territory, the sovereignty, and the sovereign rights of the Philippines. That is something we still have to clear it up. We are waiting for Ambassador Wang to come back from Beijing, Malaysia, and I asked to see him. Siguro sa pagbalik na. At ipaliwanag niya, ano ba, sino ba kausap mo? Sino ba talagang kausap mo? Anong pinag-usapan ninyo? Anong pinag-agrihan ninyo? Was this an official thing or was it a personal thing? Ano ba ito? Dahil wala kaming record. Kahit saan ka tumingin, walang record. So, sikretong ginawa lahat ito. Bakit nila ginawa? Kung gagawin man nila, ba't pa nila ginawang sikreto?
Isa-isahin natin yung sinasabi ni Bangag, di umano. Ha? Mga kababayan, sinasabi niya na there is a certain secret agreement. Naghahanap daw sila ng mga dokumento, wala daw makita. At sinasabi niya, nag-research daw, wala daw makita. Mr. Marcos, baka napaka-bopols ng mga tao mo nandyan sa Malacanang. Kasi hindi makakita. Pakinggan natin itong, pakinggan natin. Unang-una, dapat tinanong mo si Anyo. Sinabi ni President Duterte, Anyo was present. Esperon was present. Midaldea, and Lorenzana. And this is recorded. Ito, mayroong Reuters report. Basahin po natin itong Reuters na nag-record nung mga nangyayari when Duterte went to China. Ito, basahin natin yung Reuters report. Okay. Kung sino yung opisyal. Ang problema kasi, mga kababayan, masyadong marites ito si Marcos Jr. Chismoso. Kung sino-sino ang pinapakinggan na mga hindi authorized. Kung nagchichismis lang ito si Harry Roque, nagchichismis din si Panelo, nagpapaniwala na siya. Mga chismoso itong mga tauhan ni Duterte na to. Kung talagang matalino ka, Marcos, kung talagang may konting utak ka, dapat ang tinanong mo, yung mga tao na dapat na nag-handle ng foreign policy. DFA, dapat tinanong mo si Alan Cayetano. Or the armed forces, dapat tinanong mo si Lorenzana. Baka tinanong mo si Anyo, baka naghugas lang ng kamay dahil nagsisip-sip na sa iyo ngayon yan. Dati, kay Duterte, pero ngayon, nagsisip-sip na, so, hindi na magsasabi ng totoo yan. Now, ang sinasabi ni Duterte, there were cabinet members present when he had a dialogue with Xi Jinping. Paring Ado, anong masasabi mo?
Well, anong sikreto ron when it was being discussed in the open? Pangalawa, as early as May 2013, naglabas na si Voltaire Gasmen, Defense Secretary ni Noynoy Aquino, ng sidebar discussion nila ni Ambassador Mark King tungkol dyan sa pagdadala ng mga construction supplies materials dyan sa BRP Sierra Madre, confirming an agreement. And this appeared in the media, Philippines Daily Express, Inquirer, Philippines Daily Inquirer, na pwedeng magpadala ng humanitarian supplies, pagkain, medicine, other necessities para hindi sila ma-discomfort doon and all that stuff. Pwedeng magpalit ng relyebo, ganun. Pero building materials hindi pwede. Oh. Yan, accommodation na yan sa Pilipinas ng China. Hindi nyo pa masunod.
Anyway, that's beside the point eh. Ang point natin dito is the so-called agreement na which was the product of the dialogue between Xi Jinping. And this is actually on record, Mr. Marcos. Ano yung pinagdadaldal mo na hinahanap nyo, wala kayong makita, tapos you're claiming kung sino-sinong bumubulong sa'yo, secret agreement, siguro pinapaniwalaan mo si Trillanes, pinapaniwalaan mo si kung sino-sino. Mayroong report po ang Reuters. The Senate even conducted an investigation on the matter. Ito po, basahin natin itong report ng
Basahin
Reuters.
natin.
Oh.
Philippines says China agrees on no new expansion in the South China Sea. This is August 2017.
Oh, that's the time. Bago pa lang nahalal si Duterte, and that was the exact time that he went to China. Okay, basahin natin ngayon kung sino ang the right cabinet secretary that matters as far as this issue. Hindi yung Harry Roque na mga chismoso at yung panelo. Kung talagang may utak ka, Marcos, dapat tinumbok mo yung mga cabinet secretary that matters.
Ayan na.
Okay, ito.
China has assured the Philippines it will not occupy new features or territory in the South China Sea under a new status quo, quote-unquote status quo, brokered by Manila as both sides try to strengthen the relations, the Philippine Defense Minister said. Philippine Foreign Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano also said the Philippines was working on a commercial deal with China to explore and exploit oil and gas resources in the disputed areas of the South China Sea with an aim to begin drilling within a year. Within a year? The Defense Minister, Defense Lorenzana, told a congressional hearing in the Philippines.
Congressional hearing.
And China had reached a modus vivendi on a way to get along in the South China Sea that prohibits new occupation of islands. The Chinese, quote, will not occupy new features in the South China Sea, nor they are going to build structures in Scarborough Shoal, unquote. Lorenzana told lawmakers late on Monday, referring to a prime fishing ground close to the Philippines that China blockaded from 2012 to 2016.
China claims almost the entire South China Sea, a waterway through which about 3 trillion worth of sea
Born trade.
born trade passes every year. Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam also have conflicting claims on the area. Ask
About the Philippine comments, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said China
had
had sovereignty over the Spratly Islands and their nearby waters, and China would continue to dedicate itself to peacefully resolving the dispute through talks,
Talks
with parties directly concerned. Ayan, directly involved. Oh,
Yan.
Okay.
So,
klaro yan, no?
Marcos, siguro by this time, dapat sinipa mo na yung mga alipores mo dyan for failure to inform you. There are records in the Senate. There are records among the Department of Foreign Affairs. Kasi nandoon din si Alan Cayetano during that meeting. There are records in the Department of National Defense. Napaka-eager beaver yung bata mo si Gibo Teodoro. Hindi niya mahanap yung mga records niyan. Lorenzana was present during that so-called gentleman's agreement. Tapos sabihin mo,
Sikreto.
wala. At saka mayroon pa siyang isang sinabi. Sinabi niya, I cannot agree to that. Na mag-ask pa tayo ng permission. Hindi siya makakapayag. That's horrendous. That's horrible. That's horrible. Ha? Yun nga sinasabi ni Duterte in his interview. O sige, kung gusto mo yan, gawin nyo. Ha? Punta kayo na doon, mag-build kayo kung ano-anong gusto nyong bi-build. I dare you, sabi ni Duterte. You can even bring kasi we are just being promised of a rescue, a help if there will be actual war. After the fact lang ang Mutual Defense Treaty. Ang sinasabi ni Duterte, kung matapang ka, Marcos, kausapin mo yung amo mo, na Biden, na maglagay sila ng isang war vessel, isa sa mga 7th Fleet nila. Maglagay dyan, i-station na dyan para madepensahan ang Pilipinas. Ito yung... Pero anong sabi ni Itim? Yung Itim na...
Si Austin.
Si Austin.
Oh.
Anong sinabi ni Austin?
As long as they have actually caused casualties and has killed the servicemen, then that whatever their designations are, whether they're merchant marine or Coast Guard or actual gray vessels or Navy vessels, it does not matter. That is an attack on the Philippines by a foreign power. I think Secretary Austin explained it very well. If any Filipino serviceman is killed by an attack from any foreign power, then that is time to invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty.
Dito natin makikita, mga kababayan, yung nagmamahal sa bayan na leader. Para kay Duterte, he will not take the risk of confronting China. He will not take the risk of confronting China. Sabi ni Duterte, from his mind, is that pag pinatulan tayo ng China, ay lubog tayo. Ito namang Marcos, ginigiit niya ang mga Chinese in the hope na ironclad yung ano. Pero kailan pa tayo tutulungan, parang pagka may napatay na, hayaan mo pa bang may mamatay, may masugatan, Marcos, bago mo ipatrigger? And anong sinasabi ng tatay mo, Marcos? Mr. McCoy Jr., if you trigger the treaty, that's not automatic, sabi ni Marcos Sr.
Does not automatically oblige the United States to
because
come to our rescue.
They will still be deliberating in Congress, in the House, and in the Senate, while we are all dying here, sabi ni Marcos. Well, your excuse, dahil hindi mo naman nakuha yung magaling na utak ng tatay mo. Ikaw, hindi mo naintindihan lahat ito kasi you're floating in the air, Mr. McCoy Jr. Kaya, pag ganon-ganon ka. Pero, there's a challenge from Duterte, and this is also a challenge from the many Filipino. Sige, subukan mo na, Marcos. Subukan mo na. Maglagay ka na ng, hindi lamang magdala ng construction materials, kundi, mag-build ka na ng mga, dyan, sa so-called exclusive economic zone. And tingnan natin kung ano ang response ng China. O kaya, ipatuloy mo yung mga alipores mo, yung mga cronies mo na magbibuild dyan mag-explore dyan sa Red Bank. Let them do it. Para matest natin ang pagmamahal ni amo mo na itim na si pangalan nito? Lloyd Austin. Na masyado kang naniniwala dito sa itim na ito. Tingnan natin, Mr. Marcos. And ito po, paring Ado, ano pong parting words mo dyan?
Pakikitaan ko po kayo sa susunod naming taping ng mga declassified documents from the State Department mismo na nag-leak at binigay sa amin just this week. At hindi ko na madala kanina dahil hindi ko mailipat sa hindi ko mai-save sa aking computer as a JPG, no? Na pinatutunayan yung ironclad commitment, no? Na pinaniniwala ng ating Pangulo ay hawsyaw. It's a lot of hot air, utot lang ho yan ni Biden, no? Wala ho pwedeng pagkatiwalaan sa impormasyon na yan. At ang panghuli kong salita ganito, sino ba ay may tanong? At Secretary, sino ba may sikreto? Ayan ang kitang-kita natin eh.
Wala namang secret.
Dinidiscuss
Ito si McCoy Jr. Dahil sa mga sino-sino nagbulong, naniniwala doon sa secret agreement when in fact there was none. There is a gentleman's agreement because because Duterte is a gentleman. So does Xi Jinping. Ikaw, gentleman ka ba, Mr. McCoy? Well, let us...
Ito ang tanong ko.
Ha?
Bakit hindi ikaw, McCoy, ang magsabi sa amin kung ano secret agreement nyo ni Biden?
Yon. Ano
Ng
bang
mga
secret
Amerikano.
ano bang secret agreement nyo? Ilan bang unexplained wealth na naka-pending sa Amerika ang ibabalik sa iyo? Nagtatanong lang po ang mga kababayan. Ilang bang bilyon ang tinatanggap mo or natanggap na kay Biden para maging ahente ka ng Amerika? Tingnan mo lang ang treatment ng Amerika sa iyo. Kasabay mo yung Japanese Prime Minister. Yun, binigyan ng honor, binigyan ng gun salute. Ikaw, binigyan ka ba?
Arrival honors.
Arrival honors.
19 gun salute.
Binigyan pa ng audience. Ikaw, binigyan ka ba?
State dinner.
Ikaw.
Sinama pa ni Biden sa favorite restaurant niya.
Ikaw ba, binigyan ka ba, McCoy?
Sino
ano ka lang?
sumalubong sa kanya?
Si Harris. Sino ba?
Si Mary Kay Carlson.
Ha?
Ang ambassador ng dito sa
So
Pilipinas.
hindi siya sinalubong.
At si Babes Romualdez ang sumalubong sa kanya sa Andros Air Base.
Kasi ang tingin sa kano sa'yo, bakit pa natin anuhin yan? Nabigyan na naman natin ng deal yan eh. At nabalik na siguro yung mga pera niyan eh. Di ba? Nabalik na siguro ang pera na inaasam-asam niya.
Dahil ikaw kuting, saling pusa ka lang dyan sa Washington DC. Saling pusa.
Saling pusa.
Meow, meow.
Ang tatangkad ng mga katabi niya eh. So, ito, mayroong sinasabi si Baste Duterte. Ito ay propaganda lamang daw itong mga pautot nyo dyan sa South China Sea. Ito, pakinggan natin.
Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte calling the West Philippine Sea issue mere propaganda. Duterte made that statement before thousands of supporters at a peace rally in Tagum City last night. Let's get a reaction now from Commodore J. Tariela, the Philippine Coast Guard's spokesperson on the West Philippine Sea. Commodore Tariela, welcome to Dateline Philippines.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, and a pleasant afternoon as well to your viewers, sir.
I'm glad you could join us. Now, Davao Mayor Sebastian Duterte had shared his views on the West Philippine Sea issue. Let's take them point by point. First, that the West Philippine issue is a mere propaganda to drag the Philippines into a proxy war of sorts between China and the U.S. Does he have a point?
No, sir. He doesn't make any logical argument about that. We know for a fact that the West Philippine Sea issue has already been decided by the Arbitral Court. We already have a victory in 2016 regarding this issue. The mere fact that this was already decided by an international arbitration court, this means that this is not just a propaganda. Our problem, the West Philippine Sea, really with China is really existing. Secondly, we have relied on our embedded journalists to amplify our transparency in the West Philippine Sea. Our journalists, media reporters who joined the mission can be able to testify what is really happening in the West Philippine Sea. And then lastly, Filipino fishermen still complains about the harassment of the Chinese Coast Guard and the Chinese Maritime Militia. And of course, we are also experiencing a lot of trouble whenever we do the supply operation with the Armed Forces of the Philippines. These are not propaganda. These are factual narratives that are really happening that we are all experiencing. I don't see any reason why and how an elected official at that will be able to mention a national security issue that we are all facing as a mere propaganda.
Kahiya. Akala ko, pinaggastusan ito ng mga kano na paaralin. Bakit mali itong grammar nitong na ito?
Kasi nagtagal din sa Japan yan eh. Kaya kura-kura.
Ha?
Kura-kura
pinaggastusan
English
din ito ng Hapon. Kaya pagsalita, akala mo, he doesn't talk like a Filipino eh. Ha? He talks like a loyalist of America and Japan. Ha?
Hindi, tsaka sinight niya yung sinight niya yung
sagutin mo yung substance nung mali yung English, sagutin mo yung substance ng may nagsasabi nito.
Actually,
kung ako niyan papadala ko kay Vicky Bello ito eh.
Anyway, sinight mo yung arbitral ruling. Sir, with all due respect, inalis ng arbitral ruling.
Hindi nakakaintindi.
Inalis ng arbitral ruling yung Kalayaan Island Group mo. So say goodbye to it. Paragraph 574. Basahin mo. Mag-review ka, mag-aral ka, nakakahiya ka. Spokesman ka pa naman ni Ed Anyo dahil ayaw ka na raw pakialaman ni Ronnie Gil Gaban ng PCG. Because masyado ka raw ambisyoso kung ano
he's claiming to
pinagsasabi
be
mo.
sinabi nitong reporter, spokesman daw ito ng Coast Guard. Is he really the spokesman of Coast Guard or he's just an impostor?
Kami meron na kaming nakalam na ebidensya, 4 na pahina ng talking points na ginagamit mo, J. Tariela. At alam niyo mga kabansa kung saan galing yung talking points niya? Sa
Powell.
US Indo-Pacific Command.
Bata ni Powell to
Sa US Indo-Pacific Command. Ikaw ay pakawala ni John Christopher Aquilino. You are working for the US SINPAC sa Hawaii. Yan ang pinagtatrabahuhan mo.
Kaya, maski tama yung sinasabi ni Baste Duterte na ito lahat, pakulo, it's just a mere propaganda maneuver
Propaganda
ng
talaga
Amerika.
yan.
He's speaking for and in behalf of the United States and Japan.
Oo.
Kasi, alam mo, dapat i-reveal mo sa Filipino public magkano ba ang na-receive mo na aid or ano ba yung pinapaaral siya fellowship ng Japan at saka United States. Kasi dapat ang spokesman is a real Filipino na walang tinanggap ni isang kusing para he will really represent the real Filipino cause. Ikaw, anong cause na nire-represent mo, Tariela? Are you really representing the Filipino cause? Or you are representing the people or the country that you have received a fellowship and has benefited from the money of these foreigners?
Ang latest na...
Please reveal to us. Mahiya ka kung hindi mo i-reveal yan.
At saka huwag ka na magkampanya na maaga para sa Kongreso para paltan ng kapatid mo. Pumuporma ka pa. Kayo mga
niya itong forum na ito para sa kanyang political ambisyon.
Gusto niya maging congressman sa Mindoro.
Sabi ni Vicky Bello, pumunta ka daw sa kanya para lalo kang mananalo sa sa eleksyon, sa kung saan ka mang lupalop tatakbo.
Yan ang problema Itong si Bacoy Jr. kung sino-sino, mga tao sa ilalim niya, ang pinababayaan niya magsalita. Ang daming voices. Sa international relations kasi, Secretary, ang posisyon ng isang country, hindi lang kung ano yung nakasulat. Hindi naman kasi graduate ito si Marcos sa Oxford Kaya ang problema, hindi
siyempre.
niya alam.
At saka drop out yan. First year pa lang. Hindi na niya kayang magpatuloy ng law school sa UP.
Si Jay Tarrera, drop out din sa PMA.
Dahil ano ba yon ang sinasabi? Nagkaroon ng copying or pandaraya sa exam?
Oo.
How true is that?
Sa management information exam. Ang nag-announce si General na noon ay Major, si General Edgar Arevalo. Sabihin mo sinungaling si Edgar Arevalo na ikaw ay nandaya sa exam sa PMA. Tapos sasabihin mo pa sa tweet mo,
Alam mo,
inaaway mo si Tiglao na nanalo ka sa kaso. Ano lang naman yung pinanalo mo? Hindi naman on the merits of the case. TRO lang. Pero ano nangyari? You were found with prima facie evidence by the Honor Committee of PMA to have violated the honor code by cheating in an exam.
well, alam mo, this is really this really redounds to the kind of people that this administration is hiring. Yung betting process ng gobyerno na ito, kaya palit ng palit Palit ng palit ng mga tao Kasi pina-fine-tune mo na, pero ang number one criteria, how much can you make payola to the powers that be? Yan ang mga criteria muna.
Yung tara.
Yung tara, magkano bang matatara nyo para sa Yun ang number one criteria, not based on dapat pinapakuha mo na ito ng English subject kasi spokesman hindi nga baluktot yung English I was already ano ba yung sinasabi niya? Was been already imbis na has already been been already. Kakahiya. Anyway.
Meron daw ironclad dyan.
Ito. Sinasabi ni Biden, ito.
Ayan, basahin natin yan.
Ayan, basahin natin dito.
May komento ko dyan. Biden pledges to defend Philippines from any attack in the South China Sea. Joe Biden has pledged to defend the Philippines from any attack in the South China Sea as he hosted the first joint summit with Manila and Tokyo amid growing tensions with Beijing.
Ano pa naman tensions yung pinagsasabi? Water cannon lang, tension na ba yan?
The United States defense commitment to Japan and the Philippines are ironclad.
Ironclad.
The U.S. President said on Thursday as he met Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The summit at the White House comes after repeated confrontations between Chinese and Philippine vessels in the disputed waterway that have raised fears of a wider conflict. Biden's pledge follows a bilateral meeting between Biden and Kishida and the upgrading of their alliance, which also drew strong condemnation from the Chinese government. Quote, any attack on Philippine aircraft vessel or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke out our mutual defense treaty, said Biden. The U.S. President made a similar commitment when he hosted the Philippine President at the White House last year.
Belat mo, Biden.
China claims almost the entirety of the South China Sea, brushing aside competing claims from several Southeast Asian nations. The so-called gray zone harassment by China has included shining military-grade lasers at the Philippine Coast Guard, PCG firing water cannon at vessels and ramming into Philippine ships running resupply missions near the second Thomas Shoal, as both Manila and Beijing claim.
Ano ba naman conflict yan? Kilitian lang yan. Dagdagan pa ninyo para ma-test natin ang Amerika kung
Oh,
how far can they really.
that's the only
Ah?
way.
Kasi sinasabi ng dating Pangulo na talagang nagmamahal ng Pilipino, na takot siya na isubo ang ating bansa na maraming mamamatay dahil wala tayong kakayahan sa China. Oh. Sinasabi niya, sige, para walang mamatay, ikaw ngayon, atsoy ka ng Amerika, Mr. Marcos, ikaw yung utusan kung saan pupunta, na bansa, ikaw ang inuutusan, o bakit hindi mo kumbinsihin yung lolo mo na si Biden? Sabi ni Duterte na maglagay ang Amerika ng isang fleet dyan mismo sa daanan para siya yung big body ng Pilipinas. If you really want this country to be without any injury, without any dead person, ma-military man yan or ma-civilian, bakit pa hihintayin pang magkabombahan at may mamamatay na bago dadating yung ironclad na tulong? Di ba nakakatawa yun? Mutual Defense Treaty, that is, after the fact. Dapat defensive, di ba? Paring
Nung tatay mo, mawala yung Phuket Island dyan dahil sa mga Vietnamese, tinulungan ba tayo ng Amerika? Nung mawala sa atin ang Mischief Reef, under Ramos, tumulong ba sa atin ang Amerika? Nung magkaroon ng Scarborough standoff, tumulong ba sa atin ang
Hindi
Amerika?
tumulong, niloko pa tayo.
Niloko pa tayo.
Ng
Amerika.
Niloko pa tayo at pinapalabas na aalis ang China. Pinapaalis muna tayo.
Oo.
Kasi pagkatapos daw, sabi nung Assistant Secretary, okay na, nagkaintindihan na. Sige, alis na kayo Pilipinas. Kasi alis na rin ang China. Niloko lang tayo nung kano. Hindi umalis. At because of that, nakapagtayo na tuloy sila ng mga bases dyan. And their fighter planes are there based on that
Ngayon, nag-file
island.
tayo sa arbitral tribunal. Mula 2013 hanggang 2018, nagre-reclaim ng islands dyan ng China. 5 years! 5 years!
Habang
Tinulungan ba tayo ng Amerika?
hindi pare, ang masama nito, pumunta tayo sa arbitral tribunal. Hindi sumama ang China. Inignore tayo at sa kapalit nagpadami ng nagtayo.
Artificial island.
Habang pero sino ba yung explain nga paring yung tribunal na yan, tayo ang nagbayad, di ba? What is the concept of that Hindi naman yan joint we were the ones paying for it.
Tumawag tayo, nag-file tayo ng petition.
Yes,
At niregister natin yan sa The Hague, doon sa Permanent Court of Arbitration.
Yes,
The seat of voluntary arbitration.
Yan, voluntary. Kasi ayaw ng China ang sumali. So tayo lang ang
Ngayon, nagbayad tayo dyan sa mga abogadong Amerikano at Britanya ng $7 million. 370 million pesos po yun, mga kabansa. Bukod pa doon sa ginastos natin na halos 600 million para sa rental, mga facilities, pambayad doon sa honorarium ng mga hurado. Tayo nagbayad ng mga pera ng mga hurado.
Tapos, sino bang promotor noon? Yung Carpio. Di ba may video dyan, sinasabi ni President Duterte, this Carpio is an idiot. Mayroon ba? Pakihanap ngayon, palabas natin yon.
Pero itong Carpio na ito, ayun, bakit kung ibigay ko yung ayunan sure, Juster Carpio, kung hindi ka ibigay ko na lang yung South China Sea. Hindi ko nga alam kung saan yung ayunan. At ito, Justice Carpio, sabihin ko sa iyo, if China would decide to erect a naval base there in the island nearest us, can you stop it? Ano mo yung Supreme Court ruling mo dyan? Papel lang yan, idiot. It cannot stop a war.
He's a rabble rouser, sabi ni Duterte. Ha?
At dito ho, abangan nyo mga kabansa, ha? Sa aming susunod na mga podcast, ihaharap namin sa inyo ang papeles mismo ng State Department na diniclassify. Ha? Pangako namin sa inyo yan. At sino nagsasabi dyan? Si Kissinger mismo, si Henry Kissinger, na wala sa plano ng Amerika na suportahan tayo pagdating dyan sa Spratly Islands ninyo.
And ito po ang opinion, isang opinion ng magaling na writer. Very well respected. At ano ang tingin niya sa atin? Ito, si Bubit Tiglao. Roberto Tiglao of Manila Times. Pakinggan natin yung kanyang statement tungkol sa tayo ay atsoy lamang ng Amerika. Ito.
We're now the U.S. puppet state and a boiling frog.
Nako,
Sus Mariose.
nakakahiya.
Not in my worst nightmare did I think the U.S. could revert us to puppet status in less than 2 years. A status that ended when a nationalist Senate kicked out American military bases here in 1999, despite the popular Cory Aquino's huge efforts to retain them. Ironically, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the son of the dictator whom Aquino believed had her husband killed, has now trampled on our independence to make the country the U.S. certified vassal, the squire member more accurately of trilateral alliances among the U.S., Japan, and Australia, designed to contain the rise of China, the superpower challenging U.S. hegemony. We're now Asia's Ukraine.
Tama yan.
But the vassal state is in a boiling frog situation. While its puppetry right now has put it in the tepid waters of a pan, it is under a fire that will slowly boil, not perceiving the mortal danger it is until it is too weak to escape.
Tingnan mo ang kabulastugan ng Amerika na sinubo nila siguro kung hindi pinasubo ng Amerika yan, hindi binaback up kunyari, pinopromisahan, Ukraine could have probably settled with Russia already. But pinaunlakan, pinromisahan ng Amerika at ng North Atlantic Treaty Organization na suportahan nila all the way. Pero look at what's happening, which we will be in the same situation later on kung magpapaniwala tayo dito. Look at Ukraine. Hanggang ngayon, the Republicans, is part of their agenda is not to give any money to Ukraine. In fact, ang suggestion pa nga ni Trump, pag naging presidente siya or kung ano man, they will just be given something in the form of a loan. Papahiramin, imbis tulungan. Pero sino ba ang nagbibig brother dyan? Amerika. But ang Ukraine, mga kababayan, kung tuusin natin na magiging parang Ukraine tayo niyan, kung magpipaniwala tayo dito kay Marcos, si Marcos is now enjoying the benefit from America. Dala-dala niya tayo, binuguyo niya tayo na sumuporta sa kanyang likod. Nasa likod tayo niya, pero kumakamal na siya ng benepisyo for himself habang tinutulak tayo sa bangin. Kasi, saan ba yan pupunta si Marcos pagka nagkagera? Lilipad lang yan eh. He has so much already probably in his chest that he will just leave the Filipino people pagka nagkagera na yan, babombahin tayo ng China, matagal pang dumating yung Amerika, magiging parang Ukraine tayo, mga kababayan. Tingnan mo ang Ukraine, hanggang ngayon, wala pang aid. Wala pang tinulong.
Lampas isang taon na,
Oo.
humihingi si Zelensky ng bagong appropriation na 110 million, ay padadala lang 60. Tapos,
Mabuti na lang ang Ukraine is in Europe. May kakayahan. Tayo ba, are we comparable to Ukraine? Do we have exocet? Do we have mga wherewithal ng mga ballistics, mga nuclear, kung ano man yung mga ano ba diyan, mga capability? Mga eroplano na wala tayo niyan eh.
ilang buwan na lang ba si Biden? May, June, July, August, September, October. Naku, 7 buwan na lang pala, November na, eleksyon na sa Amerika. Di ba, December, ano na yan? Lame duck na, president. So, alam mo, Secretary, ang Russia is now pushing effective last week kasi akala nila mag-uusap na eh. Pero hindi. From Bakhmut, they're going west para i-drive yung demilitarized zone farther to the west and away from the eastern occupied areas. Sino nabawasan ng teritoryo? Ano nangyari? Lampas na ho sa kalahating daan, 500,000 na sundalo ng Ukraine patay na. Wala na. At ngayon, they are conscripting pati mga babae at mga below 18 years old para labanan ng Russia. Saan pupunta yan? Why the butchery?
Mr. Marcos, may konsyensya po ba kayo?
Grabe naman
Gusto
to.
mo bang ang Pilipinas dahil sa pagkakatuta mo sa Amerika, gusto mo ba ang ating bansa ay magiging Ukraine at sobra-sobra ang mamamatay po, Mr. Marcos?
Ako nagdududa
Sana
na.
magkakonsyensya po kayo.
Nagdududa na ako.
Kasi
Secretary.
hindi mo naiintindihan, hindi mo nag-grasp ang tunay talagang pangyayari. Kasi yung mga traidor ni Duterte, nasa kamay mo na ngayon. Yun ang mga advisor mo. Diyan sa NSA.
Teka, baka naman galit ito si Marcos dahil pinalayas sila ng mga Pilipino noong 1986. Kaya gusto niya maraming mamatay na Pilipino.
Gusto niyang bawian ang Pilipino.
Oo.
So, ibabangon niya
Ano ba yan?
daw ang Pilipino. Saan niya ibabangon? Pare, saan niya
Bagsak ang ekonomiya. Ang inflation, ang taas. Ang prioridad niya nandun sa dalawa. Dalawa ho, prioridad niya eh. Yung West Philippine Sea at saka yung charter change. Yung West Philippine Sea, 9% lang ho yan sa survey. Yung charter change, 1%. Sus Mariosep. Samantalang yung ekonomiya, ang
Nasaan?
pinakamalaki.
Ipakita natin itong
Bihira.
At hindi lang, priority niya mag-travel ng mag-travel. Ito.
Biyahira.
Lahat ng mga travel niya, pinagmalaki niya na mayroon na take home the bacon, mayroong mga pledges. Pero tingnan mo itong member ng commerce ng ECOP. Ito, nasaan ba 'yon?
Yun ang napipinta sa atin ng mga investors eh. Marami tayo na iisip probinsya na hindi nila na-compute. Kaya pagka nag-i-invest yung kahit anong gawin natin ni Presidente, pag-iikot at paghahanap ng investors, ang nangyayari, kulela tayo. Punta muna sila sa Thailand, sa Vietnam, sa Indonesia. Tayo kahuli-hulihan despite our effort because, ang sinasabi nga, napaka-erratic ng policies natin dito at napakaraming naiisip dito na pampahirap sa mga employers.
Ito si Ortiz Luis. Ito isa sa mga stalwarts ito ng mga Employers Confederation of the Philippines, member ito ng Commerce or Association. Ito lahat po sinasabi niya, puro katotohanan. Ikot daw ng ikot si Marcos, yabang ng yabang na mayroong mga nakakalap na mga ikangay pledges. Oh, yan, mga pledges, mga investments daw. Pero wala namang katuturan. Why? Because umaatras daw yung mga investors, papunta na lang ng Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand,
Even Laos.
even Laos dahil wala tayo. Our infrastructure at saka yung our labor laws are not conducive for investments.
Policy shifts.
Kaya yun ang problema kasi mga kababayan. Kung nambubola ka lang sa taong bayan, sasabihin mo, ay, maraming investors. But you are contradicting yourself at the same time because you're telling Congress, oh, magpasa kayo ng charter change on economic provisions because hindi tayo attuned with other countries in attracting investments. And yet you're also saying na, oh, you don't need that kasi I'm touring all over the world because I'm getting investments. Oh, alam mo Marcos, huwag mo kaming lokohin ng taong bayan. Pwede po ba?
They're horrified.
We're horrified with your
Statements.
pambobola. Oh, di ba?
Well,
Very,
anyway.
very horrifying.
Anyway.
Okay. Yun po. Yan po ang masasabi natin.
Okay.
Ha?
Hanggang dyan na lang po muna itong episode na ito. Huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe sa Iparas kay Paras
Yes, sir.
at sa aking YouTube channel at Ado.
Magandang hapon muli, mga kababayan. Iparas kay Paras.